in this report about a figure who's been at the top so long, many say his time is over, and a challenger who will stop at nothing for the throne. Now, that might apply to the president defending his title from a former president, but this is actually a different throne, as the rapper with the most hits, Drake, fights the rap artist with the most acclaimed poetry, Kendrick Lamar. And that's not all, because I can tell you in the past 6 weeks, there are about 10 new songs from 4 different artists, mostly arrayed against Drake, and at the core of it, a battle between Drake and Kendrick Lamar. These songs are topping the charts. They're captivating fans. As a matter of news, Joe Biden's presidential campaign has just engaged on the Kendrick Lamar side, using his new lyrics to go against Trump. We are talking about an event that is so big in our culture, it has become part of our politics and public life, driving debates and plenty of news.
Drake and Kendrick Lamar are trending after taking aim at one another.
There is a lot to unpack in the Drake and Kendrick Lamar feud.
The two legendary rappers going at it all weekend, each making some very wild accusations.
If Drake and Kendrick Lamar got in a rap battle, who do you think would win?
Got to go with Kendrick.
So,
Hi,
the winner in music, a big surprise, Kendrick Lamar.
The Pulitzer Prize in music almost always has gone to someone in the world of contemporary classical music.
I love the Drake new project, and I just really take that as, love from my little brother.
There's another battle next week, right? And I don't want to hear about it. I'm signing you up, man.
The two best of their generation in their prime. I've never seen a rap battle give us this much music.
Throwing haymakers like Lamar, Kendrick at Drake.
Everyone keeps coming up to me and asking, Gayle, where do you stand on this Drake-Kendrick Lamar feud?
To me, has been the best rap battle I've ever witnessed.
Right now, we've just lived through the most significant battle in any musical genre in decades, the most consequential clash of this digital era. In fact, it's the internet that helps us show how we know that over 100 million people have actually heard these songs or about them. And this is deeper than rap, to paraphrase Rick Ross. It's about culture, truth, capitalism, civil rights, and what values we honor and reward. Now, in the two poles of hip-hop, Kendrick Lamar roughly represents the more artistic, raw, and truthful voice. Remember I mentioned Governor Adlai Stevenson's line? Well, Lamar echoes him in this line in the battle directed at Drake.
I know you're a master manipulator and habitual liar too, but don't tell no lie about me, and I won't tell truths about you.
Lamar taking shots from a higher ground, and he lit the fuse for this whole battle in a recent verse after a long-running Cold War between these two. Then both artists did about 11 songs in all, including 8 in just the last 17 days, a flurry of music. Lamar argues in these songs that Drake is a, quote, scam artist with the hopes of being accepted, and proclaiming himself the true artist, like a modern Raphael, who heals and gives you art. But he says the industry's cooked as he picks the carcass apart. Lamar's allegories treat this pop star Drake as a kind of soulless zombie atop a dead industry. And Lamar casts himself as a reluctant but lethal artistic warrior and revolutionary. He indicts Drake for continuing the ugly American playbook of exploiting black culture, copying and stealing art without credit or value, without equity. And this is an issue from current artists that Drake works with to the others that he may idolize. Take the late Tupac Shakur. Lamar invokes Tupac partly for their shared vision. Pac condemned these same capitalist dynamics before his untimely death at age 25.
All the society is doing is leeching off the ghetto. They use the ghetto for their pain, for their sorrow, for their culture, for their music, for their happiness, for their movies.
Leeching. Tupac Shakur was then diagnosing a problem in American capitalism and how it controls culture, what he called there the ghetto, quote unquote, or black culture, from entertainment and movies to music to withering and punishing contracts and abusive artists while they lived and after they died. This is a long-running issue. We've covered it on this program before. It relates of course, to civil rights, to capitalism, and to politics. As for the current debate, hip-hop experts like Ebro Darden report that Lamar was right to tackle this particular use and exploitation of culture and language.
The streets in this hip-hop means something. The streets and the community, where this stuff comes from, the language you're using, the slang you're using, I don't know, the affiliations to individuals who live a lifestyle that is nefarious, those affiliations, they mean something to your credibility.
This means something to your credibility, Darden explains. And so what may look to some like just a battle between two big entertainers. Maybe you've heard a little bit about this and thought it's just an entertainment story. What may look like that is something much deeper for many, many people. Now, it's a battle. Drake has been arguing that Lamar is actually the poser in his own right, saying he acts like an activist and plays with those themes lyrically, but doesn't actually take action for his community, that it's all make-believe. Drake also says that while he works hard, Lamar doesn't even make that much music anymore. And Drake dismisses this kind of hand-wringing over hits as Kendrick trying to have it both ways. The idea is top artists want to go number one. So Drake argues his competitors only do so by either making songs with him, so they do benefit from it, he would argue, or picking fights and talking about him, the boy, in a lopsided 20-on-1 matchup.
We already know it's a 20v1. We already know why you went number one. It's clearly because of the boy. The honorable thing is to give me the loot.
Now, Drake's responses make some points here with artistry. But over the course of this battle, he found himself defending a type of status quo and then backing off this big, long-awaited battle after he'd taunted Lamar about everything from how often he drops music to whether he would get involved in this battle, which he really did. Now, what we're discussing here is a small slice of these issues. Both men also accused each other of serious crimes with no evidence, the kind of claims that responsible journalists don't even repeat. The song's devolving into acrimony and unverifiable accusations, as the New York Times put it, with attacks on everything from race to appropriation to body image to misogyny and trauma and more. Now, many have noted the extremes as well here. And this is where culture may reflect and extend some of the broader problems we face today. From our politics to how we live and learn and engage online, we have this kind of cynical anti-truth mode that has become very normalized. I bet you're familiar with it if you follow news and politics. This is where in campaigns and sometimes in cultural conversations, people will seriously say, well, if the conspiracy theory sticks, it doesn't matter if it's true. It worked. And I want to be clear as we take a look at this important battle that these kind of lyrical contests were once waged more in the spirit of argument, lyricism, artistry, and some sense of truth. So we should ask, are they now graded on just the most effective lies or conspiracy theories? Because if that happens, then art can devolve into politics, to partisan loyalty, not listening to the other side, claiming everything is justified for your team, and as mentioned, effective lies win, so why not use them too, and the other side's doing it anyway, yada, yada, yada. Now that's not only corrosive, it also makes us vulnerable to a bigger problem where culture is less able to do what it has done, including specifically civil rights and black culture in American life for a long time, which is push us and redeem even our political divides. Today, some of this may only reflect them. And again, that may be a product of our digitized era. I'm not saying who in one single story is responsible, but noting some of these wider conflicts. So that's big picture. Now, this is still a battle, and there is the question of who won. Most hip-hop heads say Kendrick Lamar. That's clear online, from fans to rap media. As for the hits, well, this new Kendrick Lamar catalog, the new diss songs I've been telling you about against Drake, they're doing higher numbers with more likes than Drake, and they're breaking records, again, coming out of the unpredictable, organic, spontaneous exchange of poetry between these two lyricists. Now, Lamar himself cautions against using only that kind of metric. In the new songs, he criticizes faking for likes and digital hugs. It's on one of those new diss tracks. And he contrasts that with authentic credibility. Indeed, in these songs, after lodging objections to bad taste and bad ideas and appropriation and exploitation, Kendrick Lamar underscores his argument, which I've told you is supported by many in America right now, that he actually represents a movement. He says, notice, I said we. It's not just me. I'm what the culture feeling. End quote. All right. Now, art is not usually a competition, but we all have choices to make, from how we live to what we support. And even when it's boiled down to just picking sides, it can be more significant to look not only at who you endorse, because we're all going to make up our own minds, and I encourage you to do that, but how are we getting there? And are we communicating and figuring that out? Do we define the criteria and values we use to make these choices, political, musical, cultural, or otherwise? And do we figure out if those criteria and values are correct, or if they need to evolve? You know, this battle tested those values for many in real time. And what happens in the culture matters, not only in the moment, because we're here on the first draft of history, but often for years to come, especially for the next generation, shaping minds. And a lot more people follow culture than news and politics. So when we have one of these big debates in real time, we should listen to each other and definitely to the next generation. What do people stand for? Who do we oppose? Why do you care if they're not like us? And what do we want to be? In the end, I've told you before, lyrics are poetry. They can help us see and grow. And some of these questions, how we answer them together, are even more important than anything else in the debate.